Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us live, not live, watching video, all that kind of stuff. I'm glad you're here. What we are here to talk about tonight is our Voyageur U College Edition. My name is John Arms. I'm the creator of Voyageur University. We teach people how to become independent professionals. So if there isn't a job that you like or a job that you want or a job that you can have, we're going to talk about that. Putting yourself in business for yourself, what we call a portfolio professional, is absolutely a path we think everybody should pursue, and certainly recent college grads, given the world we live in right now. So tonight I'm going to talk about this idea of going from the minute you have your cap and down, going right into a portfolio career. So I'm gonna talk about that tonight. Take us about 12 minutes, and then I don't think we're gonna have any Q&A. So we'll record it and then you can learn, and of course we'll post a link to this what you're looking at here. So that's what we're here to talk about tonight. So I just have to press the buttons and make it go. Okay, so the first thing I want to start with is a little bit of a dedication, a little bit of homage, a little bit of a acknowledgement, if you will, for you folks who are in college, who have graduated. Obviously, we're in graduation season right now. For parents, it is not lost on us here at Voyageur that you are the generation whose first professional act after all of that money spent on college and all that learning, which was well worth it, but your first professional act was witnessing the automation, the AI automation of those entry-level jobs that were meant for you up until this year. That is a hard pill to swallow. And I didn't want to start with any dialogue about having a portfolio career until I was at least somebody stood up and said, hey, that's tough. You were given a certain kind of sandwich, and it's hard to accept that, but here we are. You were told, go to college, get the degree, you studied hard, you took out loans, boy, and you'll do anything, right? And the social contract that said there's a door at the end of that hallway for you that's going to be wide open for you called your first job. Um, while you were in college, that door closed. AI did it, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, but that's not to say that there isn't hope, that there isn't a future, that there isn't a whole different path you can take that isn't, being underemployed. Nothing wrong with working at Starbucks, nothing wrong with working on a dock, but if you got a college degree, you probably found something really interesting you want to do professionally. Yes, you can do that. It just is not going to look like a full-time job like it has since post-World War II. So I just wanted to kind of do the land acknowledgement here of, wow, your first entry into the world that's been normal forever is those jobs are gone. So want to acknowledge that. All right, a little bit of data on that. A little bit of data on that. The ladder is indeed dead. The old path has closed, and you were promised a ladder. I was promised a ladder. The generations before you were promised a ladder, and all of that has changed so dramatically these last few years, these last few months. Climb the rungs, earn the title, pay your dues. But let's look at what's happening. Let's look at the data. This isn't my data. This is data out in the world. You can certainly try to find it yourself. It's out in very reliable places. The last one, up to 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs are at risk from AI within the next 1 to 5 years. That one is from Claude itself. So this data really matters. We're down, kind of going right to left here. We're down 29%, 29% in entry-level hiring in the US. That is roughly, since pre-pandemic, we haven't seen anything that bad. For context, our Great Depression was 25% unemployment. We're down 29% on entry-level hiring. That's how bad it is. And here's you, the college grads. 41.2% of college grads right now are reporting I am underemployed. I got a degree in X. The job I have doesn't fit that. Almost half are there. And who knows what's going to happen over the next few months. Is that going to go up? Is it going to stabilize? Is it going to go down? There's a lot of evidence that it's not going to change. It's actually going to get worse. But the premise of what you went to college for and the promise that came out of it has changed while you were in college, has changed underneath you. I do not do this to depress you. I am a very optimistic person. There's an alternative. but I want to sort of acknowledge this is the reality. Math is a kind of can be our friend in terms of what is really happening. I'm not really a fan of a lot of what is reported in the media. I think they sort of underreport the reality here. I don't think that's healthy. I think it's good that college students know the reality, what's in front of them. Certainly, I talk to college students every day. You know what you're going through. If you're a parent of a college student, you know what the fears are, but this data really helps us understand the macro context. And if that's the case, and it is, then we have to be thinking about what are we going to do about it? What are our options? So, okay, a little bit more about this. So these aren't cuts. They're not episodic. What's happening to work isn't like some momentary bubble or anything like that. This is more like what usually happens when innovation enters the room. Um, when we've seen this throughout history in America, when we got the tractor, it displaced the horse industry, the plow horse industry. When we got the airplane, it displaced the train industry. When we got the car, again, the poor horses, we displaced the horse industry. All of that happens, and those aren't episodic. These are structural changes. So what's happening with AI is the same thing, except it's not by just little individual industries. It is everything, everything. The entry level work that used to be there for our whole lives, whether that's building slides, formatting memos, doing first pass analysis, creative things, like there's a lot of entry level work that America did and that went to people like you, went to college grads like you. Well, again, what happened is AI has come in and said all of that, not just by industry, by any task, by any role in any industry, AI has figured out how to do it faster, cheaper, with no 401k, with, they work at 3 a.m. That's what AI does. They've automated that work just like the tractor automated plowing, just like the airplane made, transportation much faster, cheaper, and more efficient. Whew, that's a big thing. We've never seen anything this big in our society. And what's happening is companies aren't like, oh, this is just some episodic thing. They're like, we're in it. This is what we're doing now. We're skipping the entry level stuff because AI can do this now. Now, we can argue and have debates over, does AI do a good job? Is it good? Is it bad? I'm not here to debate the quality of AI at all. We're too early on that. I am here to sort of report the weather and what we're seeing. I'm sure everybody's been using it, touching it. It's useful. It's valuable. Is it going to do everything it says it's going to do and more and less? We'll find out. But going back one slide, it's already having an effect on you, the college student. And so that's really important to remember and know, because what are you going to do? All right. So it makes us a little depressed. Shoot. What happened? Now what do? Do I live in my parents' basement for the rest of my life? No. No. That's just the launch sequence has changed. Your launch sequence into what makes you awesome, what makes you good, what makes you a valuable person has changed. It used to be go get the entry-level job. That was your launch sequence. Okay. That's no longer the launch sequence for half the people out there. Doesn't mean you just vaporize. You need a new launch sequence. That's what we're going to talk about tonight with what we do. We help people launch into independent careers. So the only thing that's changed is the launch sequence has changed. So feel good about yourself, even though the news can be kind of depressing. And I hope the first 5 minutes here wasn't too depressing. It's just reporting some bad economic weather, but there's just structure that's going to change. So, okay, enough scary stuff. Let's talk about good stuff. All right. So as the bottom of the org chart disappears, something else, a new launch sequence is activating for you should you choose to do it. We have been teaching adult learners this thing called fractional for 8 years. And what that means is you're not working for a single job. You're your own boss. You have your own, self-reliance. You put the decisions on your own shoulders. Most people prefer that anyway, but that's called fractional for adult workers. For you, it's called a portfolio career. It's called solopreneurship. It's called career independence. It's a real way to launch yourself into the world that's different. And it doesn't mean you're going to go be a landscaper or do some, just do man. It doesn't mean that. It means you actually want to use what you learned, but the launch sequence is no longer a job, so you have to create your own. So what does that mean? There's three things here I want to bring your attention to. One, you don't apply. You all know people that are applying, and it's terrible. So rather than apply, you attract business to yourself. You wait. You all know people that are waiting for a job to show up, waiting for a recruiter to call, waiting for the HR to get back to you. Rather than wait, you build. You build. And then third, you're not out there climbing a corporate ladder. That's done. You're launching 1, 2, 3 different things as opposed to putting yourself down one path. I know this is difficult because it's not what you were told or sold, but it's the reality of what's here for you. In fact, you should feel pretty good about it because hundreds of thousands of people do this already. You already know some in college. In college, you knew some people that had a side hustle, that did a gig, that made some money doing content, that went on to abnormal alternative careers. You've actually seen quite a bit of that. The moment now is to think about the abnormal alternative career is actually the normal career for you. Couple of examples. If anybody's aware of crumble cookies. Crumble cookies came out of a student at Utah State who said, I'm not going to go work for anybody. I'm going to make my own thing. While they were in college, huge organization. The founders done quite well, gone on to do other things. You can do this too. I'm not saying you're going to start a cookie franchise. What I'm going to say is you are going to go out and proactively build your own reality as opposed to wait for it to happen to you. Okay, so as all of that AI thing has been happening, there's this new reality of you can start your own thing. Your launch sequence can look different. All right, what does that look like? What we talk about at Voyager is economic self-sufficiency. We are not here to make you employable. You will do that yourself. We're here to make you self-sufficient. And what that means is if you have a job, you borrow that for a little bit, if you create a portfolio of revenue, if you create your own thing, you are self-sufficient. Your income is not attached to one logo, one boss, one HR decision. Literally what most of your parents went through, that's not the reality that you're going to live. We want you to be prepared for a self-sufficient career as opposed to a sort of, the career that's not available for you now, like a single path, single paycheck. Even though that was sold, that's not self-sufficiency. So we're here, what we teach really well is self-sufficiency and what that looks like. Okay, so how do you do that? From the get-go. There are 6 ideas that you can live by. I'm going to get into the nature of the course in a minute, but there's 6 concepts you can hold on to that you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. I can do this, mom, dad, myself. If I understand these things about myself, I can absolutely create 1, 2, 3 revenue streams as a college grad in areas that I like and enjoy. But you have to understand these 6 things. 1, your value belongs to you. You went to college, you studied, you got good grades, you did things. You have value. There's this sort of lie that's been told to people you have to have experience to have any value. That is not true. That's just what you've been sold. And it's miserable, isn't it? Oh, you don't have any experience? You can't work here. How the hell am I supposed to get experience? I'm 21 years old. That just doesn't make any sense. But you have value. You have fascination. You have curiosity. You have ambition. Your generation is really good at network. I mean, you've got a tremendous amount of value. So the idea that your value is only real if you have experience or if it's something you gain in the company, it's not true. You have value that belongs to you. The second idea to live by is your career is a portfolio, not a ladder. If there's no first rung of a ladder, there certainly isn't any second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth. So you have to think about, oh, okay, well, there's going to be revenue come up. There is no ladder. I'm a business of one. I'm going to pull in revenue from 2 or 3 or 4 different places. Like I said, if there's not a first ladder, there's not a first rung, there's not more. Number 3, security, right? We kind of had this idea that a job equals security, equals healthcare, equals 401k, equals a steady paycheck. It's all blown up. It's all different now for your generation. Quite honestly, you're not the only generation suffering from it, but it's a little bit of a misnomer. Your security actually comes from your circle, not your company. And what I mean by that, and this is something your generation is exceptionally good at. We've launched things like this at colleges. We did a great pilot at Miami of Ohio. What we found in our research in doing that was we found that your generation, the college age generation, is incredibly good at what we call circle, having relationships that are a mile deep but an inch wide. A small amount of people works exceptionally well. That's like a circle, a small group. You don't have to go know 1,000 people or 10,000 people. Having a small circle. Well, in our research, we found, oh my gosh, your generation's really, really good at that. Previous generations actually really struggle with that. Your generation is really good at like, yep, I can get intimate with a small population of people. I can turn that into business success. Your security comes from your circle. It doesn't come from any contract that says you have a job from now for the rest of your life. Because guess what? Those contracts don't exist. And any that do, they are broken in a nanosecond if it's a bad earnings report or anything like that. Okay, number 4, your identity. It's not your title. It's not the title of your first job. Even though you were thinking, man, I really want to be a copywriter, I really want to be a programmer, I really want to be a this or a that. Like your identity is what you solve and what you build, not where you work. And that is far richer, far more valuable, generates far more revenue when you think what your identity really is and it's what you're capable of. That's your identity. Your income is built, not granted. Granted is with a job, built when you're your own boss. And last but not least, and your generation really loves this, I think everybody does, is your time is yours to deploy. One of the worst things about the economy for the last several decades has been a very time equals value economy, which most people reject. Like my value, what am I worth per hour? How much time? It's like this layover from the Industrial Revolution when time equals value. Your time, your brain, all of that, it's yours to deploy. It doesn't belong to somebody else. And you can generate tremendous amount of revenue just understanding that your time isn't like a clock and what hour did you do the work. That works for piecework, that works for shift work, that works for contract manual labor. It does not work in the knowledge economy which you're entering because you spent 4 years getting a lot of knowledge and a lot of money. So these are my goal for sharing this tonight was if you did nothing else after tonight and learned this, you would be better off than thinking the only thing I have to do is go to apply to an empty, canyon of jobs that aren't there. There's more to you than that, and there's ways that you can think about your value, look through these 6 lenses, and you can succeed greatly. But word only so simple. Okay. So what all this gets to is what we call a portfolio professional. Not one job. It's more of a stacked set of income streams that you own. So if you think about one, like I have a core skill. I got a degree in history. I could probably teach that. I could probably be a really good researcher. You've thought about what that is, and there's a skill there. And this can apply to, anything that you learn to decide you want to get to. I know. You went to college hoping you kind of find that out. Not everybody knows what that is, but you do have some skills. You have curiosities. You have fascinations. There's a way to make money at that without it being a full-time job when you have a core skill. Second, a set of clients. Having clients rather than one employer is the safest bet. One employer can cut you like that or not hire you in the first place. If you are, let's say, a content creator and you make videos on how to do programming or whatever that is, right? It might only be 5 or 10 hours a week, but you have clients who buy that content from you and put that out in the world. If you lose one, you have other revenue streams. So thinking about a set of clients rather than a single job, it's a lot more relief. Like I can make money from a lot of different places. So a core skill as a set of clients as opposed to a single point of income, or as I like to say, a single point of failure. And this last one is really, really important, is your own infrastructure. Conceptually, these all sound very good. Mr. Arms is telling me, portfolio career, I can use my skills, I can get customers, all that sounds great. Every good thing you've ever done in your life, whether it was athletics or fitness or scouting, infrastructure matters. Having tools, having systems, having a plan, having a structure is how that happens. If I want to lose 10 pounds, there's no way I can just hope it to be true. I need infrastructure for that. So skill, clients, and infrastructure equals the foundation of a portfolio career. This is the core of what a portfolio career is about, and this is the core of what we teach. Okay, a little bit more on that. two different worlds. Kind of backing up, if there's any parents watching this, this will be very familiar to you. If you're watching with your student, I think this is a good, healthy conversation to have. The world that I'm 58 years old, the world that I grew up in looked a certain way. Loyalty, tenure, hours, titles, permission, like that was it. It worked that way for a long time until it didn't. But that was normal. That was normal. But that doesn't exist for you. They're different. Your world, this is the great opportunity. It's far more innovation and idea centric. It wants your creativity. It loves networks of humanity rather than single offices with cubicles. Look at you, digital and technical acumen. Obviously, the world loves that. People in my generation before are way behind you in terms of digital and technical acumen. Here's a big one: human judgment and initiative. Your creativity, your curiosity, your fascination, all that matters so much. AI can't do that. And the other thing AI can't do is the willingness to try, fail, and get up. Your world is actually full of opportunity when you say, it's not going to be a single job. I'm going to create opportunity on myself based on this. Your world looks way different than the worlds before you. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. So just try not to interpret, man, my world's different, I'm screwed. That's not really it. You're not behind on everything. You are entering the job market, the US economy, at a moment that the game completely flipped and switched. While you were studying for 10 hours in a row for a calc test, the world around you said, I'm going to change all the foundational rules. What it looked like for your parents and your even older siblings, perhaps, is not what it's going to look like for you. So it's still a diploma, but it's almost a different planet. Okay, so how do you make that work on your behalf? Well, a couple of things that you need to know. That, guess what? You don't have to unlearn the things that don't work anymore. You don't have any W-2 reflexes. So a 25-year veteran, which we teach, they have to unbuild that old world in order to sort of step into this new one. But look at you. You're fluent in feeds. Like, you understand how information moves and transfers at speed. You can spot signal from noise. Some call it the bullshit meter. Like, you're really, really good at technology and feeds. You are a restructure native. Guess what? How many industries in your lifetime switched up on you? Like, it's insane. My lifetime, like, I've seen some big ones. I've seen from the landline to the cell phone. I've seen from the typewriter to the laptop. I've seen from wireless to libraries. Like, I've seen some stuff, but not like your generation. Your generation has seen the restructure of things that actually makes you stronger. You are very fluent in tools and restructuring of what works now. So take this to mean, yeah, you don't have the bad reflexes. You're kind of coming into the new economy fresh. That's what this slide is about. Okay, so about our class, and then I'll wrap it up here. So our class is trying to help you enter the self-sovereign world. We want you to start a portfolio career the minute you take off your cap and gown. We want to arm you for that, give you all the tools you need to succeed. We know this is what works because we've been teaching it for 7 years. So class number 1 is really it's about the world you're entering. It's not the world that was. It's a certain kind of world now. We've broken that apart. We understand it. We know the nature of what you're entering. We break that down. Each of these classes is 90 minutes. There's a workbook. There's other resources to help you. But the first one is, what the heck? What's the atmosphere here? What's the temperature? How is this new world working if it all shifted so much in the last few years? So the first thing we're going to do is really understand the landscape. If you ever played sports, it's like watching film. All right, second, your place in it. The second thing we have to do is really know that inside stuff. We all have what we call an inner nerd. You don't have to have experience to have an inner nerd, but we all have stuff inside of us that makes us magical and special and awesome and useful and valuable. And it does not mean experience. It just means you, something that you're passionate about, something that you care about, things that you notice before others. You really have to unpack that, because that is what you're going to build your portfolio career on. So I brought up crumble cookies before. I don't know that person, but I suspect her inner nerd was, I wonder if I can make a better cookie. Like, she probably obsessed over that and then kept going and going and going. And that turned into a thing. Third, you have to have a plan. Hopefully you've learned some of this in college, but nothing good in life happens without a plan. Like where am I today? Where do I want to be in a year? What do the steps look like? You have to have a plan. We have to create that for a portfolio career. Until now, the plan was get the degree, apply for jobs. That was the plan. It's different now. You have to have a plan for a portfolio career. Number four, every plan needs systems underneath it that make it strong. So it's great to have a plan, but if you don't have the structural systems in place, then the plan's not going to work very well. So class number four is really breaking that apart and helping you understand the systems that make it go. And then number five is really sort of the cherry on top, which is the path to clients and opportunities. What does that look like? You've been taught that the path to opportunity for you is go apply for a job. That's a different world. The path for you is clients, opportunities, referrals, ideas, probably stuff you're really, really going to love, but it's different. We really break that apart. There's a nature to the portfolio career and how opportunities show up that we've done forensics on and unpacked, and that's class 5. Okay, that's class, but there's also ways that we support this beyond the class. So we have a cohort. So we create, every time we launch a class, that becomes a cohort. That becomes a small network of people learning together. This is your professional peer group. It's your network for life. They're there to help you. You're there to help them. It's critical for success. No success happens in a vacuum anywhere, certainly not in solopreneurship or a portfolio career. Second, everything we teach in our classes and have taught for years lives inside what we call Ask John AI. And that exists so there's a 24/7 thinking partner. I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, I will take you through the class, I will put you through the paces like any college teacher would, but I can't answer your phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't be there at 6 a.m. when you have an idea you want to share. We created Ask John AI for there's a thinking partner for you along this journey. And then finally, a marketplace. You're entering an economy that already has 70 million. It's called the 1099 economy. That's the tax classification. But there's a marketplace. There are businesses that want to do business with you, whether it's travel, banking, healthcare, software, any number of things. They know to come to us because this population of 1099 people, they like us. They sort of aggregate to us. And so we tell them, give us products that are good for the people that are 1099ers, and we'll create a relationship there. So these are things that help you create this business. So it's not an idea. It's not just a concept. It's not passive. It's I am going to make my own business, start my own thing. I'm going to build my own portfolio career, and I'm going to live that way for the rest of my life. That's the way the job market is looking anyway, so good on you. You'll make great money. You'll have great adventures. You'll have wins and losses like anything else. But the one thing it won't be is throwing your resume into the Grand Canyon and waiting to hear nothing. That's not a world we live in anymore. So we created these 5 classes so that you would have everything you need to start your own portfolio career. Okay, how does it work? You show up. We start the class on a certain date. It goes for 5 weeks. You learn, I teach, we talk about things in class, you capture what you're learning in your workbook, you share it with your cohort, and then you bring what you learned next week. It's like a college class, but it's also not. It's very iterative. It's new shit. I shouldn't use language like that. It's new stuff. And the way you learn it is sort of in real time as you go. It's not like, I need you to go to the library for 10 hours and study this. This is different. It's more hands-on, I guess is the way to put it. Okay, before we close here, we've got 2 more things to share. So a little advantage when you launch, after you've done all of this and taken the classes, is what a lot of your peers are going to spend a lot of time trying to assemble, you're going to create right from the get-go. And this really, really matters. One, a deeper understanding of the world you're entering. Any research we've done, I'm not so sure that the institutions, whether it's colleges, whether it's guidance counselors, I'm not faulting them, but things have changed so fast. I don't think anybody has real good clarity on the world we're entering. We just happen to be an advantage of that because we've been teaching independent work for years. So clarity about what that world, you're going to have that. That matters quite a bit because if you do not have clarity about the world you're entering, you might be doing things the old way and out of work for a very long time. You will have a plan, right? When you go get a job, the plan's made for you. You're going to make your own. You're gonna have a path to clients and opportunities. Like that's different than just having a job. You're gonna have infrastructure. So this is like there's not a master's degree for this, even though we call our thing the fractional master's program. You are going to be able to go out and launch yourself from 5 weeks on and carry that for the rest of your career into an economy that wants that more than it wants, the entry level task stuff. Knowledge of your value, operating system to work with, a circle of peers, a head start. Like this is what you're going to get out of this effort. That matters a lot because what you're doing is arming yourself for the reality of the workforce or the reality of the economy, what it is and where it's going, not where it has been. So that's our program. Everything from here is Q&A. Love to hear questions when you get this. Share back. You can comment. This has become a video on YouTube. But the first move is to show up next week. Is hop on in, hop into class, and there will be a link that you get where you can pay right there and all that kind of stuff. What pricing is and scholarship information. There's all of that sort of logistical information will show up in the email that you get that has this, and it'll also be on our YouTube page that has this. I am going to close with, this isn't just about let's launch. Think about launching yourself. Think about, I am a business of one now. I can do this. I have what I need. I don't have to wait for permission. I can create my own portfolio career here and go crush it. We're going to give you the framework how. So thank you for listening, everybody. I hope you found this helpful. And we'll see you in the emails and the social medias and all those places. And I look forward to those of you who come into class next week when the first class starts and get yourself launched into the new world of work.